World Bank approves $1.5 billion COVID-19 stimulus package for 35 states. Central Bank of Nigeria revamps economic report format. Exports to West Coast estimated at 41 billion naira. Plus, oil prices climbed on Friday, on track for a third consecutive weekly gain. You're watching Business Express, and it's reaching you from the network service of the NTA. I am Muplang Dakok. Good to know you're always tuned to Business Express. The World Bank has cleared 35 states for the $1.5 billion stimulus package for states in Nigeria to cushion the economic effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. The plan is part of the World Bank's package for immediate fiscal relief for Nigeria, following discussion between its country director and Economic Sustainability Committee, chaired by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. This is contained in the report of the Ad Hoc Committee of the National Economic Council interfacing with Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 to ease the lockdown on the economy. The report was presented on Thursday at the virtual NEC meeting presided over by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. And the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, says it has enhanced the reporting format and presentation of its periodic economic reports. The Apex Bank, in its latest report release, stated that the new economic report captures much more economic activities and better interpretation of situation in the economy. The report provides insight on current economic developments in the real, fiscal, financial, and external sectors of the Nigerian economy, as well as on global issues of interest. It also reflects the policy initiatives of the CBN in pursuit of its mandate. The dollar was on the defensive against most currencies on Friday after a rise in U.S. jobless claims and dip in Treasury yields dampened the appeal of holding the greenback. Let's see the exchange rate this Friday. The Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, has decried a systemic abuse of the Pioneer Incentive Scheme instituted by the federal government, which it said has resulted in tax revenue leakages for the three tiers of government. The executive chairman, FIRS, Mohammed Nami, who stated this, vowed that the service will move to plug the inherent gaps in order to generate more revenue for government. A statement by the FIRS Director Communications and Liaison Department, Abdullahi Ahmad, noted that the FIRS is currently auditing its findings with a view to pressing for the cancellation of pioneer certificates issued to undeserving companies in violation of the law. Meanwhile, Nigeria's informal sector records annual exports of about 41 billion naira across the West African states. Chief Executive Officer, Nigerian Exports Promotion Council, NEPC, Segun Awolowo, said these include perishables like agriculture produce, animal skin, and locally manufactured goods, which are largely not captured by government, like the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, while noting that the agency is collaborating with state governments to develop at least one agricultural produce in every state for exportation purpose. The NEPC boss added that no fewer than 22 products from the country had been identified for exportation through the council's program of One State, One Product. And as Nigeria seeks for ways to improve her economy to cushion the effect of COVID-19, the Ministry of Agriculture is to introduce a model for export of hibiscus and sesame for more foreign earnings. The Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Mohammed Sabo Nanono, says demand and supply of hibiscus and sesame are booming in the country as exporters are now exporting a larger percentage of the crop to Mexico, United States, Europe, and Asia. He says the models will be established in Nasarawa and Jigawa states with a view to improving quality of the crops to meet international standard. Governor Abubakar Baduru of Jigawa says his state is ready and will actively participate in the federal government initiative.
But we boast also the production of groundnut in the state. Those are crops we have comparative advantage on, and we are pushing very hard to produce them massively and to increase our competitive advantage in producing them.
To discuss the value chain of hibiscus and sesame seed for exports is the Director General of the Nigeria Agricultural Quarantine Service, Dr. Vincent Isegbe. You're welcome to Business Express.
Thank you once again. I'm grateful.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us the economic value of the hibiscus and how much revenue it generates for Nigeria.
The hibiscus flower, incidentally, in the international market is called Jamaican flower.
Okay.
Jamaican hibiscus.
Okay.
Probably because, you know,
that's the one cultivated in Nigeria.
Yeah, the way it was rooted and sold, you know, so
okay.
It has more of that Jamaican brand name than yes.
Okay.
So it's currently one of the gold products, agricultural products that we have, and they use it a lot. In fact, it's like a national drink in the country of Mexico. They use it to flavor drinks. It's used in pharmaceuticals, you know, to add color, being an organic product, you know. So it's a high-profile selling commodity. And you agree with me, too, that here in Nigeria, we don't play with Zobo drink, too.
Yes.
It's made from hibiscus. So people who may not know the name hibiscus is the same thing as what Zobo we use, yes, in Zobo drink. And you can see the number of cottage industries that are packaging, you know, this Zobo drink, you know, to sell to school children in supermarkets and in shops. So it's a high-profile commodity. It's one of the emerging commodities that the Nigerian Agricultural Quarantine Service is showcasing, like we discussed the other time. Though we had some issues with the exportation, but we have resumed the exportation even during COVID.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what happened during COVID?
We did. We are exporting.
You were able to export?
Yes. We have resumed the export of hibiscus already. Before the infraction, in 9 months alone, Nigeria was able to export 1,986 containers of hibiscus to just one country alone, Mexico. And that's about $35 million US then. Dollars, not naira.
Yes, dollars.
So by the time you convert it to naira now, we're talking about 15 billion naira. Thereabout. So it's a commodity that we are proud, you know, to facilitate the exportation. And we are working closely along the export certification value chain for that commodity, you know, to model it and then to increase the export value.
But how well is Nigeria doing in terms of the cultivation or production of the commodity? Good.
That's where the export certification value chain comes in place. And that's what the Honorable Minister was talking about, the model that they want to put in place. Now, there are 5 critical operators in the value chain. Let me start from the Nigeria Agricultural Quarantine Service, you know, the producers themselves. You have the suppliers. There are 2 levels of suppliers. Then you have the exporters, and then you have the state government. So those 5 critical persons in the value chain have very critical roles to play in the success of the value chain.
How have they been playing it?
They've been doing well. So far, so good. Taking Jigawa state government as an example, immediately we approached them and we showed them, they took it up immediately, provided the necessary facilities on ground, to be able to do that. We established the first plant health clinic in Jigawa. The state government provided the facility. We are about completing the facility. And why we put it there, principally is because of the hibiscus.
Okay.
The plant health clinic is supposed to be like a primary health care, for the human beings. So we did that for the plant. So that in those locations, if there are plant pest issues or diseases, before you get to us, probably at the zonal level, you have a plant health clinic close to you.
Okay, you mentioned Jigawa. Which other states in Nigeria are cultivators of the crop?
Yeah, we cultivate hibiscus in Jigawa principally.
Okay.
Kano people do produce it. Some part of Katsina produce it, and some part of Yobe and Borno, they produce it as well. But 80% of the production, more or less, is from Jigawa State. But the commercial hub for the marketing is in Kano. Kano has been the commercial center during the trans-Saharan trade, so that effect is still there, and it's one of the centers that they aggregate.
Are there plans to, take this crop to other states, or it has to be in Jigawa? Is there any special reason why it is mostly cultivated in Jigawa?
In fact, I've personally taken seeds to even to my state. To see
which
if
state is that?
Benue, to see if we can grow it, because every state that is within the Sahel Sudan region should be able to produce it. Why it's necessary for the low humidity in the area is because of the drying. Once it is matured, you need a little bit of low humidity to enable the flower to dry. Because if the flower does not dry, it can grow mold and it can get spoiled, so the quality will be low. And that's why it seems like the growth is there. But again, we want to encourage other states to produce. You can produce and then industrially dry it. So that let's be innovative.
But is there capacity to do the industrial drying?
Those are the things they were looking at. We have to take one
step at a time.
First,
what about the health clinics you talked about, or the clinic you talked about?
The plant health clinics.
Are you not planning to take it to other parts of the country as well?
Yes, we first of all started with the 6 geopolitical zones, 1 location in each of the 6 geopolitical zones. Then subsequently, we take another 6, then another 6, as monies are available to us to put this in place. And the year 2020 has been declared internationally as the year of plant health. The Honorable Minister launched it last year, and it is for us as a nation to support that. If not for the COVID issue, the Honorable Minister was supposed to have, during the FAO meeting, IPPC meeting, every minister is supposed to go and support it as a support for his own country, in support of the plant health. So it's something that every agricultural producing country is serious about, and we are encouraging state governments, to key into the International Year of Plant Health to be able to secure good health for agricultural produce. Okay,
let's talk about quality. We talked a bit about the value chain. So usually the value chain helps in attaining quality. But the issue of quality has always been an issue. How well is your organization handling quality for the farmers all the way from Jigawa and other parts of the country to make it ready for exports?
Okay. Now, quality assurance is embedded in the export certification value chain at the farm, at each of those levels. And we insist on self-regulation at each of the value chain operators. So the producer knows very well that this is the chemical he should apply. He should not apply that one. And at the point of harvest, he knows where to harvest, how to harvest it, how to bag it. And the value chain specifically says for export that if you are not a registered farmer, that has intention to export, the supplier will not buy from you. Because those stringent processes that we've put in place, the farmer knows it. Now the farmer now supplies to the supplier. The supplier still knows how he's going to package it, how he's going to treat the hibiscus on transit, and how to warehouse it.
Okay.
Then eventually he sells to the exporter. The exporter will not buy from anybody except the accredited supplier. Why? Because the accredited supplier knows the rules. So he will not run foul of the processes we have put in place.
Okay.
And the essence of this is to avoid rejection at the end of the day. So everybody does self-regulation. That's critical.
Okay.
Even before you go for any laboratory testing or analysis or what have you. So with that in place, it enables us to be sure that there will be no body or no person along the value chain doing what is contrary to laid down rules and regulations.
Okay. How will an exporter, get certification to export this plant?
He registers with us.
Okay.
That's the chain. For you to be an exporter of hibiscus, you must register with the quarantine service.
Okay.
And for you to register with the quarantine service, you will follow all the rules and regulations that enables you to export quality product outside to avoid any rejection. So it is those stringent rules that we have put in place that is helping to regulate and ensure that it's of the correct humidity, it's of the correct quality, correct color, it's pest-free. Because the issue we had that time was just a storage pest that got into one of the consignments. And it was because the market was good, people were making a lot of money out of it. So those that were not regulated entered the business.
Okay.
They didn't follow the rules. And a dead insect was found in.
So, but you're now checking all those.
That matter has been resolved.
Okay. Let's go to the sesame seed.
Yes.
How important is it for export? What's the value for Nigeria's export?
It's another premium commodity for Nigerian export. And the good thing about sesame too, that it can grow from all the Sudano-Sahel region up to Kwara, Benue, Gombe, Taraba. They're all good for growing of sesame. And it's quite valuable.
Okay.
You have the seeds itself, you have the oil which is extracted and sold at premium. Because sesame oil is sold at premium. Now, what Nigerians have begun to do, like we discussed the last time you invited me here, was that a lot of value addition is made on sesame. Now, I carry that cleaned, polished sesame, and people do not realize that it is sesame. They think it's something else.
Wow. Because
clean, white, those are the premium that is high in the international market.
Okay. Are we getting that type of quality from Nigeria?
There are a lot of industries in Nigeria that are cleaning that sesame, no stone, no dust, no black particles, no debris at all. And such was available in the international market, and Nigerians are selling. Okay,
so what are we expecting from the federal government, or what is your organization?
Yes.
What's the organization hoping that the federal government will do to improve the export of sesame and hibiscus?
Good. At the federal level, I believe we are adequately covered already by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, which is the supervising ministry, and then the Nigerian Agricultural Quarantine Service. Most of the activity is now to the states.
Okay.
The states being one of the critical value chain operators, we are now discussing with them at various levels across those 21 agricultural commodities that we have showcased, for them to put those strategies in place. Because we cannot do much without the support of the state government. We need them to organize the farmers, we need them to group them, so that whatever we are coming, we identify those we are going to deal with. And it is easy for those people to self-regulate themselves because they are now an organization. So that is the area that we're in, that's the spot that we're in now. And most state governments, are responding to this demand.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, it's their farmers that will earn the foreign essay to bring back to their states. So I think it's a good thing.
All right, lastly, before I let you go, are you afraid for these two crops with the COVID-19? Do you think that it's going to affect the production and subsequently the export of the product?
Yeah, I won't say I'm afraid, but I'm concerned because of, you know, the insurgency, you know, which the federal government is tackling, and that is the major area where these two crops are produced. But I believe that we'll find a way out about the production. We may not be able to produce as much as we had done probably in the previous year, but with the insurgency level coming down, a lot of farmers will come in. Again, too, the second alternative we're looking at, if for some reasons we're not able to produce in those areas, how about other states down? So we are beginning to look at other states who are not traditional producers of these commodities to be able to produce. Don't forget, sesame has a better chance, so to say, because it has more geographical spread in cost of production than hibiscus.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Vincent Isegbe, for coming on Business Express. Mr. Vincent Isegbe is the Director General of the Nigeria Agricultural Quarantine Services. Thank you so much for your time today.
It's my pleasure. I'm grateful for the invitation.
All right. Oil prices rose in early trade on Friday, on track for a third straight week of gains, buoyed by major oil producers' efforts to hold back output amid concerns about the economic recovery from the coronavirus pandemic. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures inched up 8 cents to $42.90 a barrel, while Brent crude futures rose 16 cents to $44.07 a barrel, heading for a weekly rise around 0.5%. Both benchmark contracts fell around 1% on Thursday on economic concerns after weekly U.S. jobless claims came in higher than expected. And on the capital market, transactions on the last day of trading for the week on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange ended in positive territory. The NSE All Share Index and market capitalization rose by 0.07% to close at 25,221.87 basis points as traders exchanged 158 million shares valued at 1.75 billion naira in 3,194 deals. And on the global scene, Asia-Pacific stocks rose in Friday trade following the release of mixed U.S. economic data overnight. Over to Amina Nujem for details.
European stocks rose on Friday as investors shook off sluggish economic data and after U.S. tech stocks marched to another record high. The German DAX rose 0.4% and the French CAC 40 gained 0.2%. U.S. stock futures indicated a modestly positive open. The Dow gained 0.1%, the S&P up 3.94%, while the Nasdaq Composite up 1.06%, booking its 35th record close. Asian shares were higher Friday on hopes for development of a coronavirus vaccine, although worries remained about long-term economic damage from the pandemic. The rise in regional benchmark echoed the gains on Wall Street, which were led by big technology companies that are benefiting from people staying at home during the outbreak. Japan's benchmark Nikkei 225 was up 0.17%, gaining 0.3% in early trading. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index 1.30%, while the Shanghai Composite 0.49%. And back home in Africa, stocks were also all reflecting positive numbers. South Africa's JSE Top 40, Kenya's Nairobi All Share Index, Tunisia's Tunidex, Namibia Overall Index, as well as Ghana's GSE Composite Index. That's Global Market Report.
Thank you, Amina, and it is from there that we wrap up this episode of the program. Don't forget you can access this and all previous episodes on YouTube, and you can communicate with us on Twitter. The handle is @NTA News Now. The hashtag is BizX. Join us again on Monday for another package, and remember to follow the set-down guidelines to protect yourself and people around you against COVID-19. I am Muplang Dakok.